For those at home watching, this is Andre Evans, the Town Supervisor and the Town Board, and we're about to start the workshops for the budget. We'll be going through each department, each sub-department, and go over the budget line by line. So this is a work in progress. For the board, there's a letter attached, a tentative letter. If you find a typo or something you don't understand, this is not the final one. Just let me know, and we'll make those changes and make those corrections. I've caught a couple of ones, but when you look at this stuff all the time, you just kind of fill in the blanks for other things that you meant to say that you didn't. And for those at home and for here, this is an informal meeting. It's meant to have a lot of back and forth and discussion, so you won't see the normal formality that you normally would. And with that, first up in the hot seat is Parks. So thank you, Mr. Attorney, for being here. Thank you, John and Grant, and
We gotta open this up, right?
I appreciate it, Ms. Cunningham, for coming.
I don't think so. Yeah, right.
All right, so we're going to open up 4
Yeah,
o'clock.
excuse me, I think we gotta do roll call, right?
Oh, I'm sorry.
We gotta do
Roll
a
call.
and we gotta open it up for a meeting.
That's right. Okay, now we have to
Start
open up
with
for a
the-
meeting. Thank you very much. Reading is fundamental. Wait for Ms. Weiner to get here.
We're doing the pledge also.
Yep.
Do the pledge and just open it up.
Let's let Mr. Weiner get
Pete's here.
situated.
All right.
That was my pre-announcement to the start of the meeting.
We know.
Okay. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Supervisor Evans,
Here.
Councilwoman Cunningham,
Here.
Councilman Malone, Councilman Perticone,
Here.
Councilman Weiner, Attorney for the town.
Present.
Okay, and as I said before we started the meeting, this is an informal exchange, an informal meeting for those at home that are watching. And with that, first up is Parks and Cemetery. How are you doing?
Very good, thank you.
Okay? And so the only instructions is, if there's a typo or there's something that we need to change or mistake, this is tentative, it's not final. We'll go ahead and make those changes and go from there. And before we start, I do want to say that for next year, for next go around, I am looking at forming a citizens budget committee that will 4 or 5 individuals that will join us in a pre-phase to look at the budget and use their expertise so we can make this process even more transparent. All right? Thank you.
So the 2025 Parks budget, including the historian, increased approximately $8,500 or 0.83%. Revenues are anticipated to increase with the sale of equipment. Salary and benefit increases were offset by reduction of debt service and reductions in contracted service line items. The historian budget proposes an increase of $1,800 to the levy, primarily for the purchase of historical plaques.
Yes, thank you. So, as you know, we maintain several pocket parks as well as Cape Eastman throughout town. So this budget would continue to maintain those services, and it also contemplates an increase in, seed fertilizer type things for the backyard. Also in this budget, we are adding the maintenance and annual upkeep to McAvoy Park turf. it's a year old, so now we need to start doing annual testing and certification of the turf and make sure that we're maintaining
Can you
it.
just get a little closer to the mic,
Yes.
please? I'm having trouble
Yeah.
hearing you.
So at McAvoy Park, we are looking to, in this budget, to increase services to do the annual maintenance on the turf to get, it's new. So we want to make sure that we're doing the annual maintenance that we need to, as well as the daily, upkeep of in-house services. I don't know if you want to go line by line, but it's,
Do we have any questions from the board?
Aaron, do you know if there are any, as far as the plaques for the historical plaques, do you know if there are any grants that are possible to apply for that?
there are grants possible to apply for, and some of the staff, or I should say the members of the Historical Society as well, they're very in tune with those opportunities, and we will be looking for those opportunities to apply for, to look, I guess they're very tied to the marking, the historical
Sure.
marking of structures throughout town. So yes, that is something that's going to be highly looked at for next year.
Great, thank you.
Are there any more questions?
Should I do the cemetery?
One question, as far as rebuilding the parks, where are we? Are they all up except, I remember we talked about Bristol, right?
I would say Bristol, Pardee, if you look at like the next few years, Bristol, Pardee, Spezio, we would like to look at some upgrades for increased the playground equipment there. We would look to upgrade a little bit. Yep, and that is included in our CIP plan right now. And then I guess we still have that long-term plan of, and I don't think every single playground we have in town needs to get a full overhaul, but I think we need to get really strategic about how we make our parks more inclusive. If it's not just, like I said, it doesn't have to be overhaul of the entire playground unit, but being mindful of how people access our parks, where they can park, how they can walk, the walkability. Like I said, a lot of our parks are pocket parks, and they're so people can feel connectivity to walk to them. I feel like that is where we need to head, in the big picture.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Should I talk about the cemetery?
Okay. Yes, go ahead. There's no more questions. Cemetery?
All right, so the cemetery budget proposes about a 12% decrease to the levy. To compensate for increased salaries and benefits, reductions were made within the contracted services lines.
So the cemetery, obviously, we're extremely enjoying the new columbarium, which our visitors and residents are also enjoying. But that's really the end of where we see the growth of the cemetery right now. So we are looking to get creative about how we can increase the different services, because we want to make sure that we can offer that space and uses within the cemetery for our residents and visitors. But within this budget, we are, maintaining services. We are getting a new mower in here. But status, the new columbarium is really driving the sales at that facility right now.
Thanks. How much room do we have at the cemetery now?
We have the new columbarium is by far the most room we have. The other columbariums are sold out. We have a little room at the mausoleum, and the ground plots is where we're really starting to get pretty full. I would say, almost full. 90. I would say 90 to 95%.
So in 2025, we should start looking for new opportunities for ground.
That is, yeah. I think we do have to get creative about where we can expand or have thoughts about where we can continue to offer the services. I mean, I can't say enough about the cemetery staff and their foresight and planning and such. So hopefully we can have some ideas to you guys by next year, or how we can continue to offer that service. I mean, it's a lot of residents and such want to have that opportunity to, have their final resting place in this town where they've spent most of their life. So I think it's important that we continue to stay mindful of that.
Any other questions?
So right now, the equipment budget, you're good there? At the cemetery?
I won't lie, we would like more, but yeah, we're gonna get the one lawnmower this year, and then we'll make a strategic plan to get the other one.
Okay.
There's nothing else on parks or cemetery. We can just move forward with building maintenance. The building maintenance budget proposes an increase of about $153,000 or 16%. The largest variance within the building maintenance comes from the transfer of the utility costs from the recreation budget to the community center building maintenance account.
We take great pride, and this year we were very fortunate to onboard a new building maintenance foreman. His name is Orlando. He's doing a wonderful job hitting the ground running. I forget exactly when we onboarded him, but late summer, early fall. Within the building maintenance budget, we just continue to offer the services within the buildings. This is our cleaning supplies, our paper products, replacing vacuums, that sort of, contracted services, and maintaining the elevator. It's, there's, that's kind of uniform throughout all of the facilities. Is keeping them clean, keeping them, in good form for when people enter the property, and for our employees that we're keeping them clean, maintained, upgraded.
So right now, we have 4 full-time custodians, right now, today, right? What do you have, one here, library?
Yep. Well, we're
Where are they?
here, public safety building, community center. We're on parks, and there's a vacancy within the library that we're looking to fill.
So nobody's over there.
Correct.
Because I haven't seen anybody at the community center. Are they there full-time? Do you know? Is there someone there full-time at the community center? Cleaner? Okay. All right.
We are, Orlando, part of his look is staggering hours, looking for when's the most productive time for staff to be there to clean. So yeah, no,
So you're looking for a full-timer next door. Are they all pitching in to do the library now?
correct. So what's happening right now is, it's kind of a group effort. Everyone floating around to
Okay.
cover the facilities. Yeah.
Yeah, we slightly changed the flow because we had one person sitting and they may not have anything done. So we're trying to maximize everyone all the time
Correct.
to fill in with all the buildings.
I think the hours is clutch. Orlando's been very well looking at when is most productive for people to be here. Yeah.
Well, I think the one that was at the library, Brian, right?
He retired. Yeah. Yeah.
Are there any other questions?
Diana, can you, in your summary, can you explain the transfer of the utility cost, please?
Sure. Part of the agreement with the Skyview or 1733 East Ridge Road, part of the agreement for the community center is that we pay for the electric usage because it cannot be metered separately. Those had been in 23 and 24 charged to the recreation center. It is a better fit to put it to the building, as the other utilities for town hall, library are charged to the building and not to the function.
Great, I appreciate that. That's just a shifting. Got it.
Any other questions? Okay, next.
So next is Public Works, which will be divided into different categories because Public Works is a large department. So within the Public Works general funds, which include the administration, sidewalks, communications, central garage, solid waste management, trees and traffic control, the budget is proposed to increase minimally at 1.8%, which is only a $38,000 increase.
Ready? Yeah. So, Public Works admin, Public Works in general, obviously, is the bread and butter. It holds our highway fund, which we talk about separately, but trees, solid waste, this is where we maintain all of the street trees, as well as brush pickup, sidewalks, sidewalk plowing, all of that is within the umbrella of what we're talking about. So, with this budget, we are looking to bring more funds into our in-house sidewalk replacement program. So what we do, it's a balancing act between using contractors to pour large sections of sidewalk, but then in-house we also maintain and do repairs within town. Anywhere from a few feet to maybe 10, 20 feet, depending on what is needed. So I feel like that's a really good bridge of maintaining service, but we're using our in-house staff to do that. I mean, that has grown over the last few years, and that can be complemented also in the same ilk as right-of-way tree planting. We're buying the trees ourselves, which you'll see in the landscaping lines, and we're planting those ourselves alongside with, we do use a contractor to do that. Also within Public Works, we are looking to propose starting a townwide street tree trimming program. So we talked about this last year, and that's when we went out and did a townwide project of tree trimming. So the way we want to approach tree trimming throughout town is kind of in a similar fashion that we do with oil and stone, is that we're going through strategically throughout town, breaking them into sections and trimming the trees in that section, and then rotating throughout town so we're touching a tree, within a certain amount of years. And, this would be a process we would have to go out to bid, so that, what's in contracted service right now, we would have to ground truth exactly how many trees and how that gets us, and then we can start to, we wanted to get started, and then that gets us a plan on how long it'll take us to touch each tree throughout town. This is also our, trying to look through our town engineer, our operations center, communications, traffic control, all the street signs throughout town. With any of these, we're looking to maintain our services and all that. Street signs are made in-house, majority installed by town staff. Micro paving, trying to think, but if you have any questions, but that's the big picture here and these funds.
Highway 1 falls under this, does it?
Should-
One's next.
No, okay, it's next, okay. All right.
If I could, Aaron, as far as a policy or a threshold, when you decide whether you're going to sub some of the work out or do it in-house, is that a monetary number, or how do you usually decide whether you're going to, hire an outside contractor versus do it in?
It's when's a tree and such, and plant over the summer. Yeah, if we're gonna know how many put them, personality, it usually be a specific. And we might give that contractor just to plant that neighborhood. So it's a balancing act.
So would that be the same process for like sidewalk replacement also?
Yeah, it's an assessment,
Yeah.
the foremen go, they go out and there's hundreds of feet of
Sure.
contract. If you put it in front, we'll go in and sidewalk in front of investment, the investment driveway nice, driveway's good, our side.
Wish I'd known that 2 years ago.
Apologize. So,
Yeah.
because you're come with a resume, we want to be able to offer 5 to 10 years to understand their complaints. And a lot of these are flexible fix that might really build the Eagle, a road, it was walk away really nice,
Sure.
no problem.
All increase, it really suggests that
Yeah.
but you've got a good handle on that, so I appreciate it.
allocations, townwide roads in town, structure, and all that, sidewalk plowing, yeah. The street trimming is the, as time goes on, I think that would just be something we would look to grow. So we're touching a tree, the city of Rochester, who does this very, very strategically. They try and touch a tree every 5 years, so that would ultimately be our goal.
I think right now we budgeted for every 7 years.
Correct. Yeah, but like I said, we'll go out to bid, so I feel like in the next year or two, we'll really start to see how if we, because you gain an efficiency by bidding a certain area, and they know that they're just gonna go down the street and not lose efficiency. So I think hopefully we can realize a better estimate, but time will tell. Yeah.
Moving on to the Public Works Consolidated Highway Funds. In total, the consolidated highway funds are decreasing by 5.57%. The largest contributing factor to the decrease is a reduction of the capital lease debt service, as leases are retiring and not proposed. There are no new leases proposed in the 2025 budget.
So the highway budgets, I think when most people think of us, they think, highway department, roads. So, within this budget, you'll see that we receive a very fair CHIPS allocation. That's the funding we get from New York State to invest into our roads. So that revenue gets converted right into materials that we use to pave roads throughout town. They recently changed the guidance on use of CHIPS funds, so we can use it on micro paving, which might be, obviously over the winter, we kind of develop our plan, but we might be looking to increase a little bit outside of the budget. We might use CHIPS funding to micro pave a few more roads. And micro paving in oil and stone is, the best way that we can preserve good roads, which ultimately is just super important. We need, once we go in and mill and pave a road, and I'm sure you all hear the same things I hear, and you just paved it, why are you here oil and stoning my road? I don't like it. But it really is the most cost-effective way that we can maintain our roads and keep them in good shape for years to come. So, our oil and stone program is very robust, and we want to maintain that level of getting on a road every 5 to 7 years to make sure we're maintaining it in a very cost-effective way, as opposed to milling and paving a road. Within the highway fund is also the mechanic shop and snow and ice. So, we budget for, we maintain the budget from last year for salt purchase. We do get reimbursed for county and state roads in town. There's a formula that I'm sure you've heard me talk about, but the county uses a formula that uses the FEMA equipment rates and our employee costs, and they reimburse us for that effort of time and material on their roads. These budgets, I'm trying to look what could be proposed, but it's maintaining our major level of service. I think we're looking to make some minor improvements within the shop of epoxying a floor in one of the rooms, as well as training some new staff to make sure we're one-person plowed certified. All of our plow drivers do drive one person, and so that's a certification and a training that they all have to undergo. So when they get their CDL, it's automatic that we expect them to be ready to plow our roads. And we have a few employees that are going to need that next year, so that's in the budget. Any questions?
I have a question about the CDL training.
Of course.
And you do it in-house?
We
How
do.
you handle
we do handle CDL training in-house, and I happen to have the gentleman that is more in the know than me sitting next to me. So,
I just know the rules have changed in New York State. That's why I had to ask the question. Everybody's struggling with CDL training. That's why I wanted to ask how you're handling it here in the town.
So what we did, good afternoon, Board. So what we did a few years ago, we were required by the federal government to come up with our own in-house training program, which consists of a PowerPoint presentation, then an actual written test, then they will go out and do a skills test, and then their normal driving. And the skills test would consist of alley docking, backing up, K-turns, U-turns, and all that, do the skills test. So we do that in-house. We have our own in-house instructors. We use mostly our seasonal employees. Then there's a federal program we go into. We enter all the information in, the dates, their scores, and all that. Once that gets approved by the federal motor company, once it gets approved, they then send an email to New York State to allow the individual to take their actual New York State road test.
Right.
So not only do they have to go through our road test, they also have to go through New York State's with obviously a certified New York State evaluator. Once they get their CDL, then they'll go out training with our in-house staff. Again, they'll go out with their one-person plow training. They'll go out and they'll haul asphalt. They might haul stone. They could be hauling brush. And then as far as the one-person plow training, we bring in a third-party company. It's basically for kind of like insurance reasons, kind of protect everyone. So a third-party evaluator comes in that has no partial to the town. They don't know you, they don't know me, so they can't sit there and say, well, you know what, Erin's a nice person, I'm gonna pass her even though she ran over 4 mailboxes and crushed a garbage can. So again, it's their job, just like a state evaluator, it's their job to sit there and say, yeah, we feel comfortable behind the wheel. No, we don't, you need more training. And they'll do it with the one-person plowing. They'll actually have them go out and fill the truck up with salt like they're actually going on a run. Put the wing down, all by themselves, and they'll say, pretend I'm not here, but this is what I need you to do, and they have to prove their proficiency and all that. If they don't, they fail, and then they have to get reevaluated again.
Okay.
But again, it takes that liability away from, excuse me, it takes that liability away from our own staff and allows a third party to come in again to make that judgmental decision. Do they do good? Nope, they need a little more training, a little more remedial training, or nope, this guy's pretty good. Then we'll go through and we'll bring them through, guy or girl, I'm sorry. Then we'll go through and we'll bring them into the neighborhoods and actually have them plow with one of our, again, seasonal employees, just to make sure. Then there's forms they fill out. Once they're qualified after their certification, then they can go out on their own.
Perfect. Thank you.
What's the time span of all of that? That's a lot.
It is a lot, yes. So as far as the federal motor equipment requirements, that has to be done within a few weeks. So they have to take their, again, they take a PowerPoint, they take the written test, skills test and all that. That's done within a few weeks. So they'll go out, we have sheets, we had to create our own sheets. We had to come up with our own tests, our own PowerPoints and all that, and also our own rule book. So basically, if an employee's being bad, you say, okay, yep, you're out of the program. When you work a little different, we'll bring you back in. Then that's never happened. Don't expect it to happen, but it has to be in there. And then it kind of lists all the different rules and all that. And then again, once they're done with our in-house program, then they move on to just straight driving. Then they schedule their program through New York State. So it takes a good month and a half, 2 months. So once they go through, again, all our stuff, then they have to apply to New York State, sign up for a road test, just like you would with your normal motor vehicle, sign up for a road test, and that could take a little while too. It all depends on the state and who's training and when they're doing evaluations and all that.
That's actually less time than I had expected.
Oh, yeah.
Based on what you were saying, yeah.
And then the one-person plowing, we bring the evaluator, and we actually have 4 dates right now on hold for them to come in. We have 3 guys that will be being certified in that this year. So they'll be towards end of November, and that should be that's just a 2-hour evaluation. Once they're done, again, they'll go with our in-house staff, they'll get qualified, then they can go out on their own. So again, it takes a few months.
And one of the things that we did look at as a revenue source, and it involves, and we were still researching for insurance, could we do the initial training for outside agencies as a charge back? And that's something that the board will have to decide and just put in your hopper for discussion later.
Yeah, I like that idea. I mean, I'm specifically thinking of East Arundecoid School District with, their bus drivers.
Yeah, no, it is something that we hear that, yeah, some smaller agencies struggle with the in-house training portion, so yeah, that's something we.
We're still in it? Yeah, I have a question. Aaron, on Highway 1, we got, the service chargeback is reduced quite a bit, from 66 to 20,000. And then I was looking over at bills. Are we going back to subcontracting that workout?
Yeah, that is the service to the building department, the grass cutting, yes,
For the residential?
yes,
Because I remember a few years ago when we had it outsourced, remember they were underperforming, and then we brought it in-house, and I believe we bought some equipment. Now we're going back out to do it going back out. So I imagine that $90,000 is probably an estimate on what it'll cost to do it. I mean, I'll have to ask Bill
I would
that,
have
I'm
built,
assuming.
yes,
That's what
I
we're looking
assume
at?
that.
So we're not gonna cut the grass in-house anymore this is for the chargeback. This is for
Correct.
the individuals that houses are overgrown.
Correct.
Okay.
We're one of the few municipalities that does it within like a highway department or such. And, yeah, it poses a challenge. Our employees have voiced safety concerns in the past about going onto private property, and contractors, other towns use them, and they're, more poised and ready to handle those types of situations. And also, it seems like in the spring, when our grass at the parks is, growing at a rapid rate, and we're trying to keep up with the right-of-way and the parks, and everything else is also when the same thing is happening at these properties. And when there was a contractor, that definitely predates me.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but I'm just saying they were underperforming, so we brought it in-house.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, I don't know. And when the outside contractors come in and do the grass cutting, they gotta realize there's a rate to that too. You know what I mean? These individual contractors that come here. I don't remember, and I wouldn't say it now who the contractor was, but I know we had a lot of problems with it, so.
Okay.
Again, I know someone went through and followed them and they just weren't performing for
Okay.
us. So, I mean, that's something we have to be aware of, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I definitely know.
Because it's something that's ongoing.
Mm-hmm.
I know this year we didn't start till late, and I'm certainly sure people are cutting their grass, into the month of May, so
Oh, yeah.
we'll have to see. I'll talk to Bill, but he's got 90,000, I'm assuming that's what that's for,
I would
for
assume that
seasonal
as well.
grass. It's just grass cutting of the overgrown properties, I'm assuming, right?
Correct, yeah.
Okay.
No, John, or maybe Aaron knows, how do we handle that as far as the contractor? Does that go out to bid to an RFP, or how do we handle getting somebody to do that work for us?
I would
you know?
greatly assume it
It'll
would
be going to
a
an
bid.
RFP.
It will, okay.
Yeah, that would be within Bill's purview, but I
sure.
would imagine that.
Yep.
Now, I remember, what else is that all we're outsourcing as far as maintenance? That you think, I remember.
The property cleanups, we've already made that switch. They go in and they're deeming when, like, removing garbage and other items like that, they are outsourcing that. They have been.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like the town, like for instance, the welcome to Aroniquite signs and that type of stuff, is that us?
Oh, that is us.
That's us, okay.
Yeah, that is, yeah, we maintain those welcome to Aroniquite signs. We maintain
Have
the
we always
gardens.
done that?
No.
I thought that was outsourced
That
at one
was
time. That's
outsourced
probably
for a
how it all
time.
started too.
Okay.
I don't think that was
Okay.
being performed very well when we outsourced that too, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, the outsourcing of the welcome to Aroniquite signs, we've a few years ago, we were outsourcing a lot more landscaping services within the parks and town hall campus. Then we brought it all in-house. It was a lot more than just maintenance, so we kind of went into certain areas, the cemetery, town hall, looked at what kind of plant matter and different materials we were using, switched them out. And this year was our first year kind of at, I would say, a hybrid approach, is we're using contractors for like this campus and certain, high visibility areas, and we're in-house, we're maintaining the welcome to Aroniquite signs, certain parks, things of that nature.
Okay. Okay.
moving on to the Public Works Storm Drainage Fund. The Stormwater Drainage Fund is a special assessment, and that assessment is increasing from 2024 to $970,000. The increase in this fund is largely attributed to the increased debt service as a new capital lease is proposed for equipment replacement. The 2025 proposed rate is $7.12 per unit, which is a 20-cent increase per unit.
So the stormwater drainage district, obviously, every time it rains, we have to maintain the infrastructure and the piping and everything that handles that. This is also the storm cleaning. We recently, but within the last few years, procured a Vector truck that is dedicated to cleaning storm mains. And in this 2024 was the first year that we are subject to the new stormwater MS4 permit. I'm sure you've heard me say that a few times, but it's increased regulation. It also makes us list our priority water body concerns and the areas that drain to them. So for us, it's majority the tributaries that drain to Arundecoit Bay. So what that does is it's increased need for cleaning catch basins, street sweeping, increased education and outreach within those areas, as well as townwide. You'll see over the next few years, the requirements of that permit will start getting fleshed out and how we have to implement them. But within this budget, we are looking to combine how we repair catch basins is we kind of go around with two separate trucks, and in this capital lease we would be looking to combine them onto one truck for workflow efficiency and other needs to make the crew more efficient. And also the truck that we're driving, I can look, but I'm almost positive it's a 1998 so we're looking to get that replaced. Obviously it's to keep that in repair and using is getting harder with an older truck like that, but this is a bread and butter truck used day in and day out to repair catch basins throughout town. Whether we're milling and paving a road and we have to adjust the catch basins on the street, or we have a repair needed in the mains, that's the heart of this district and this fund.
Did it also include the manhole?
Yes.
Because I was on that crew, and
Yeah.
if they lower a manhole or whatever, it's good to have someone come right behind and pave, I'm assuming, right?
Absolutely.
Instead of leaving that opened up. So is that something you're talking about?
Yep.
Yeah, that would probably help out either, because those guys are pretty good at that, and then there's nothing to pave. Somebody has to come back and pave it. So.
Right.
And then you got to have the cones there and making sure nobody's driving in it either. So.
Got it, John.
Because that'll never happen, right?
Yep.
Or steal your cone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Aaron, I have a question about the milling and filling. Let me understand this. So if we hire a contractor to mill and fill a road, we're responsible to repair the manholes and the catch basins, not the contractor? Is that depending on how it's bid out?
Well, no. So the way we mill and pave roads is we utilize the county contract, and we're the brunt of the workforce, I would say, behind milling and paving a road. We're basically renting the paver and the milling machine. Mm-hmm. We run all the trucking. We're the ground crew. We're all of those types of things. So yes, the raising and adjusting of all the metal, the infrastructure within the road is
our responsibility.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Yep.
Okay. The Public Works Consolidated Sewer Fund is a special district assessment. The assessment for 2025 is proposed to be $3,434,877, which is a decrease of $47,000 from the prior year. The proposed rate will decrease the unit cost by $1.07 or 0.07% to $143.77 per unit.
So the consolidated sewer district, as you know, this maintains all of the sanitary sewer infrastructure, pump stations, mains, laterals within the right-of-way throughout town. We have one of the more robust services where we go in and help residents with their sanitary sewer laterals. We install cleanouts at the right-of-way to help with that effort. So we also are closing in right now. We're starting construction on the last pump station, where we see a major overhaul in the reconstruction of said pump station. Bellhurst Pump Station is the one we're doing now. We've done we've had a long investment into making sure all of our pumps are the same, control panels are the same, and alarm system, all of that is standard throughout town. And what that does is that helps us efficiency in parts, but also helps efficiency with staff, that when they go up to a pump station, there's certain things that are very familiar about it and making them efficient. It saves on parts, and certain pumps that we have sitting on the shelf and things of that nature. But within this budget, we do a certain amount of main repair. And also, we use a CIP plan to go in and replace laterals within the right-of-way for known laterals that are in ill repair. That is outside of this budget, but it is part of the CIP plan that we go through every couple of years and repair people's laterals.
Any questions?
So finishing up Public Works are the other special district fees that we have. We have special districts for the Orland Road Sewer District, the Rock Beach Road Sewer District, and the LaSalle Landing Sewer District. The Rock Beach and Orland Sewer Districts are fixed annual costs based on debt service, and the LaSalle Landing Sewer District is a cost determined by the town of Penfield as the properties are connected into the Penfield sewer system. The one that is not included in the tentative budget is the Bayshore Boulevard Sewer District. The county has not added that to the tax roll yet. I am working with the county to get that added and hope to have it added by the preliminary budget.
Any questions?
Diana, how do you anticipate that addition to change the budget and what you're proposing?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah. So you're talking about the Bayshore, not having that information. How do you think that will impact the budget then?
It will not impact the levy part of it. It will be a special assessment, so it will impact the tax cap, but not the tax rate.
Correct me if I'm wrong, it's basically a pass-through from us to those residents that are in that district?
For the Bayshore Sewer District, that's a repayment to the town from the residents in that area who were connected to the sewer. Erin, you can correct me if I'm wrong. That was part of one of our READY projects, which was primarily funded by New York State. The 5% that the town had as a match is the portion that we're charging back to the residents.
Any other questions? Thank you, Madam Commissioner.
Anytime. Thanks, guys.
Thank you
Thank you,
very
Mr.
much.
Director. Now we move on to the police chief. Good afternoon, Chief.
Good afternoon, sir.
Okay. So the police department budget, including animal control, is an increase to the levy of about 4.82%. The driving force behind that increase are the salaries and benefits, which increased 7.81%. Also included is an increase to the animal control budget of about $2,800 due to the increased cost of the maintenance of the kenneling of the animals.
Chief? Any questions?
I have a animal control question.
Sure.
Many towns are being faced with building improvements for kenneling and impound animals, and I know Webster's building something, Greece, other locations. Our facilities we think are adequate at this point, that we don't need to look at that capital improvement type of a project?
From what we have right now, it looks like it will get us through 2025. After that, 2026, we may have to change a little thing. The biggest thing that we really have to look at is just creating an isolated pen area.
Isolation area?
Yeah, for any dogs coming in with quite possibly with parvo. And we are ordering a couple extra temporary kennels that we will be able to keep those dogs separate right now from the other ones. So we do have something in place that's kind of I would say, minimal cost to the town. But as far as if we're looking for any long-term structural improvements, that's going to have to be a larger CIP project itself. I know Greece's new facilities costing them upwards of $1 million. We've done the improvements, having the state come inside and everything that they've asked for as far as the drainage in the floor, the new coating epoxy floor, and the ventilation that we've had inside there. So that really has brought us up to almost there. All we need is just to purchase those couple extra isolation kennels, and that'll get us through.
Is that something we should be capturing in our CIP?
Yeah, I think we have it as part of the backyard project improvements. But yeah, we should have captured in our CIP. I agree with you.
But I do agree that minimally you're talking million, not million plus.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a New York State grant that we applied for. Webster got the grant, and we will want to apply again next year as far as that backyard improvement.
Yeah, we initially looked at that grant and we realized the small improvements that we had were going to get us through. So we chose on the fiscal side of actually going that way. But then when we did wind up putting in late for the grant, which I think next time we'll put more of the if we would have had another couple of months that we knew that the grant was out there, we would have been able to put it in there. But I didn't know what the larger vision was for the backyard project or for the town itself. But now that we have that, next time the grant comes up, we'll certainly put in for it.
I think some towns found themselves behind the 8 ball a bit and behind the curve on getting those facilities ready. And if we're only good to the end of next year, that probably means we need to start building something next year.
Yeah, what we have will said with those,
or modifying what we have.
with those new temporary modifications that will minimally get us through. But in a long term, how long does minimally get us through? That's the way I would say. If you're looking 3 to 5 years down the road, we should probably want to have a plan in place to improve or at least create a whole new facility. Ideally, it would be great if the county would actually, just like every other county that surrounds Monroe County, that the county would actually adopt to being the shelter, because right now every town has to rely on Lollipop Farm or any of these other adoption agencies to try and take these dogs out. Every other county that's surrounding Monroe County actually has a county facility for each municipality to house and shelter these dogs, with the hopes of either being adopted or ultimately maybe having to be euthanized. But we are the only county that does not do what all the rest of the counties do.
And here in Arundecoit, we don't do cats either, right?
We do not. cats are a little bit different than dogs, and in fact, even state agricultural law, I can hit a cat with a car, and I don't have to do a motor vehicle accident report. If I hit a dog, I do have to. So cats are just considered a little bit different than dogs.
Or cats.
Yes.
Second-class citizens, aren't they?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Sounds like another advocacy piece. I'm making a list.
Well, cats, obviously, they can survive a lot different, and
Oh, I
obviously...
didn't mean the cats. I meant, Monroe County, the
Yeah.
Monroe County piece.
I know it's been approached for a few years, but obviously, those are decisions made much higher level than us. But yeah, it's when the woman came from the state, when she came to inspect our facilities, she was explaining that that's what every other county around Monroe County does. So
Yeah.
Monroe County just chooses to do something different.
And I
Barn
don't,
door's going to be, I'm sorry, but
no, I was just going to say, I don't mean to diss cats. I'm a cat fan, but
the barn door is already open and the horses are out in the field. It's going to be kind of moot at that point because everyone's going to have their own
Yeah, it's gonna have a
facilities.
facility, correct.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
But that's an expensive, to your point, that's an expensive way to, if all of us are having to do our own thing instead of something that's a little bit more central.
Madam Controller?
That's all there is for the police department.
Chief, just one question I have,
Yes,
Chief.
sir.
I'm looking under firearms here.
Yes, sir.
Is everybody renewal on their firearms, or you still have some to get? You know what I mean? It looks like, I think we budgeted a certain amount of money last year, and then this year.
Yeah, that was the transition project.
Right, okay.
Yeah, we transitioned the whole department over to new
Okay.
handguns, and
So that's it right now for
Yeah,
for
the
firearms.
only thing I'm looking to possibly do is transition our investigators to a bit of a smaller handgun, because
Okay.
trying to conceal a large frame
Yeah. Okay.
weapon like that is a little bit impossible underneath
Yeah.
the suit. So,
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Chief. Are we going to squeeze in tax?
So we're on to the assessor. We had a change in schedule. The assessor is unable to make it tomorrow, so we squeezed him in now at 5 o'clock.
And then human resources will come after that? Okay.
Good afternoon,
Good afternoon, Supervisor and Board.
Madam Controller.
Thank you. So the assessor's 2025 budget is proposed to decrease by about 10.6%. The decreases in contracted services and benefits are the reasons for the reduction. Benefits are decreasing due to fewer employees enrolled in the town-sponsored health insurance plan.
Any questions? Seeing none, thank you, Mr. Assessor.
Okay, next up is Human Resources. Director Vanette isn't here, so I'll just give an overview and try to answer questions if I can. The Human Resources budget is proposed to increase by almost $87,000. This increase is directly related to the relocation of the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Officer to the Human Resources Department.
Mr. Director.
There he is. I was working away upstairs and
Sure.
okay, I don't know if you did an introduction on the budget, but the HR budget is actually very stable. The only increase, I think, was the conversion of the DEI officer from the supervisor budget to HR. Otherwise, there's no substantial changes.
Okay, Jason, why we got you up here? Insurance. We're with the consortium, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. So the consortium, what was the increase this year for the consortium?
15.9%.
15.9? What if we weren't with the consortium? I mean, that,
Well,
you know,
we do have a standalone policy. One of our unions is not
Right.
negotiated over yet. That policy went up 19.8%.
Okay. so consortium's 15, a little over 15, right?
Yeah, almost 16.
By your recollection, has there been anybody joining on anymore since, off the top of your head? It's been going on a while now, right?
Yeah, there's
Right.
about, I think, 21 municipalities
Okay.
right now. And we've also, we're buying the Medicare plans through
Yeah.
an adjacent consortium.
So 21 municipalities, it's a lot of people. It's
Yeah.
still that type of increase, right? I mean, sometimes the more is usually you can save money, but
Yeah, the marketplace out there right now, I mean, if you were going just with the general
Yeah.
community, the rates are higher.
Yeah.
We're just spreading our risk out amongst the 21 municipalities, so that
Yeah.
really helps. If we
Right.
were on our own with a couple hundred people enrolled,
yeah,
we don't know where we'd be.
yeah, okay. All right, just wondering.
Any other questions?
Jeez.
Thank you, Mr. Director.
Just one,
you.
Jace, before you leave. We have, how many ballpark, as far as employees, do we have right now that aren't filled? Do you know? That are vacant? We have vacant spots. I'm looking through all the budgets. I'm trying to get a handle, but, what do you think?
Yeah, we don't have that many vacancies currently. In the custodial staff, we're still recruiting.
Yeah, we were talking about that a little while. One we need?
Yep.
One custodian?
One full-timer. We're going to post a couple positions in the Public Works to get some senior drivers on the A-list with CDLs. The town clerk needs a clerk 4, and we're going to hire an account clerk in the Comptroller's office.
Okay. Okay, thanks.
Well, to that point, we just talked about the assessor's office. There's been a reduction there. Is there talk of maybe more staff at the assessor's office moving forward or not?
The assessor's office has traditionally had a real property appraiser. That's a very difficult position to recruit for. A lot of times those folks have a very lucrative position, right? To come to the public sector, it's a little different animal. Not to say we can't compete with that. We have great benefits and whatnot. But we have had some trouble recruiting for that the last couple rounds.
All right. So we're not actively recruiting for that right now? We are? Or?
I don't know where that position stands in the
Yeah, we're
proposed budget.
we're actively recruiting. We have, I think, 3 applicants that we're going to look at when the assessor returns from vacation.
Okay.
I received another application today, actually.
4 applicants.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Director.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Controller.
Thank you. So moving on to the Comptroller's budget. The Comptroller and auditing budgets combined are expected to increase by about 12.28% or $38,300. This increase is attributed to increased benefit costs. Other expenses, the contracted services, are decreasing. Reductions include reductions in postage and office supplies as we're working towards creating ACH payments for vendors next year, which will reduce the cost of printing and mailing checks. Office supplies, the check stock. It's a pretty stable budget.
Is it fringe benefits just because somebody's elected to start taking fringe benefits, or because of hiring, or what's that?
They actually went up. Actually, the benefits went up that much within the department. I looked at that. We have no new positions. It's just an increase in the benefits between the retirement and the health insurance. It seems like a lot to me, but that's the calculations.
It's good to see we're going to ACHs rather than checks. Checks are getting more and more dangerous, more fraudulent.
Yes, I just met with the bank a couple weeks ago about that, and our new financial system will allow ACH. I'm actually working with the bank now to get the file formats and everything finalized so we can start that hopefully within the next month or two.
Good.
Any other questions? Any other questions? Thanks, Madam Controller.
So moving on to the unallocated revenues. Unallocated revenues are the general revenue streams to the town, such as sales tax, mortgage tax, per capita aid. These are used to finance the whole town and not a specific department. The largest change within here is that we are increasing the sales tax in the 2025 budget to be more comparable to the historical data. We took a 5-year average, so the increase in sales tax is, in fact, the average of the prior 5 years. Kind of along with it are your unallocated expenses, which again are expenditures that are not assigned to any single department, such as the insurance, municipal dues, or the ambulance service for the town. The unallocated expenses are decreasing by 9.68%, and the primary reason for the decrease is in the central mailing. In the past couple of years, we have mailed the Eye on Irondequoit pamphlets, brochures to every home in Irondequoit. That has proven to be rather costly to the town. So we will still be printing the brochures, but we will not be mailing them to every home in the town, which will save us quite a bit of money.
Are we mailing them at all?
Yes, we're mailing the seniors. I think it's 60 and over.
So you know who they are? You know the households? You
We do
break
have a
them down
list
to
for
that?
the 60 and over,
Okay.
and I believe the Recreation Department is coming up with a list for some of the residents who have utilized the recreation programs in the past to ensure that we can continue providing those services to those families.
And then we'll distribute it to, like, the Wegmans store and the different stores around town for distribution and pickup.
You mentioned sales tax, sorry. What did we budget for sales tax this year?
In the 2024 budget, we have
6.7, right?
6.7 million. It has been coming in just around 7 million or a little
Okay.
over, so we did increase that budget in the 25 budget to the 7 million that's been
Okay.
coming in. We all know it's a little volatile, the sales tax, depending on the economy, but again, it's been a 5-year average. We've been right around that $7 million mark.
Okay, thanks. And we're not even whole yet. I mean, we're not even close. How many months do we have in this year so far?
We have 5 months
5 months?
reported so
Okay.
far, so we still have 7 more months
Yeah.
coming this year.
Okay.
Can you just remind us about ambulance service and Rondequoit, how we kind of have an agreement now and allocation to them?
I'm sorry, Peter.
Did you just remind people about ambulance service and allocation towards that?
So the town has a contract with Arundecoit Ambulance to provide EMS services to the residents. That contract, I believe, 25 will be the final year of the current contract. I believe it was a 2-year contract. That contract is for $450,000 with Arundecoit Ambulance. The town helps to support those services for the residents.
Thank you.
And they're the only ones in town now, right? They don't,
Seabreeze.
well, yeah, but Monroe's not doing anymore.
Correct. The only contract the town
that-
has is
okay,
with the
besides
Arundecoit
with Seabreeze,
Ambulance.
so-
And Seabreeze has their district.
Okay.
Any other questions?
So street lighting is next on the list. The street lighting expenses are decreasing significantly in 2025. The town has purchased the street lights, so the town is saving on the rental fees that we were paying to RG&E. And we are also recognizing a savings from the LED bulb replacement. So those are coming down. So that's, those are primarily, we have 28 special districts, special lighting districts, but those are significantly down. I think they're cut almost to a third of what has been assessed in the past.
That was a pretty good improvement we made a few years ago.
It was a good improvement, yeah.
Really starting to reap the benefits of it.
The town board budget for 2025 is proposed to decrease by about 22%. The reason for the decrease is primarily reduction in benefits as fewer members are enrolling in the town-sponsored health insurance plan. Again, the town board is a pretty stable budget. There's not a lot of change in that budget year over year.
We did allocate for more training, correct? Just in training.
But we did allocate a little bit more for training, yeah. And then moving on to the supervisor's budget for 2025. It's proposed to decrease about 7.8%. And again, this is directly related to that transfer of the DEI officer from the supervisor's office to HR. And our last, for tonight, our last one is the attorney's office. And the 2025 budget for the town attorney is expected to remain flat at $460,000. That will include general legal services as well as planning-related legal services. Are there any questions about the budget, anything we discussed tonight, or anything about the overall budget that I can?
Diane, I just have a question, back to the town board budget. Fewer members are enrolling, is that just they don't want insurance? Their other family members have insurance? I'm just curious.
That's my, I haven't talked to each board
right.
member, but it's my assumption that I think there are 2 board members on the health insurance and 2 who are doing the insurance buyout. The town does offer an insurance buyout if you opt not to, but you do have to prove you have insurance elsewhere.
That's what I'm getting at, yeah.
So yes, that is the case.
Okay, thank you.
You know, just to put it in, Diana, we've discussed this before. I think we're obligated, or it's our responsibility for retiree health care, right? You're talking about health care in general.
Yep.
I think, you put it in perspective about how much, I mean, we're talking all the employees that have retired over the past. I think that's well over $2 million, isn't it, a year?
Right,
more
for the
than that.
retiree health.
Yeah.
Insurance is costing the town over $2
Right.
million a year. The issue with that is most of the retirees have been in the union. They are entitled to the policy and benefits they had upon retirement. So some of the employees prior to the town, employees making contributions, if the town covered it 100%, we were still covering 100% of the insurance for many of those retirees.
So wait a minute, so then even if you're over 65 and you're on Medicare, we're still giving that benefit to our retirees?
You do, and Jason's on here, but at 65, we do transfer to a Medicare I may have misspoke on that, but a Medicare eligible
Advantage style,
plan.
okay.
But the town is still responsible for that cost.
That's a nice benefit.
And then a large part of that,
What you need to belong to.
and then a large part of that increase was our retirees.
Because that healthcare increase, just so you know, the national average right now is 8 to 10%. So when you said that increase, that kind of shocks me that that's where we're at, to be honest with you.
Yeah, most of that is retiree.
Okay, that makes sense then.
And that's almost 10% of our tax levy. Insurance and
Insurance.
for retirees.
Yeah, insurance is a big part of our budget. We're already in the consortium. I don't know if there's any other cost-saving measures that are available to the town. It's definitely something that we'll be looking into, in future years.
Yeah, well, that kind of shocked, because, when we got in the consortium, we were paying 5%. You know what I mean? And then now I realize, it just doesn't matter now.
Oh, it does. You're right.
We're
You're right. It
paying,
doesn't.
we're paying 13% or whatever it is, even though we're in the consortium, we'd be paying in the high teens if we weren't, so.
Yeah, Jason and I did look at a carve-out. Like if, say, we were leaving, it would have been higher.
Yeah. There's no, there's no answers. Grant, we've been through this with the unions. It's tough. It really is. So we try everything to save. But
Yeah, the good news is there was a change in the law to close the donut hole for Medicare, and I think insurance companies are reacting to that. And like when the Affordable Care Act came in and where they jacked up the insurance rates, I want to figure out that they would drop in the years following. I think that's what we're experiencing now, is an overreaction to a federal change in law.
Question. Diana, if I can ask, the line allocated for attorneys' services is $460 this year, and looking at 2022 actuals and 2023 actuals, the numbers are substantially in excess. Do you know why that is?
In those years, I do believe we had some outstanding legal battles that were ongoing.
Unplanned for?
Unplanned legal expenses for.
Extraordinary.
extraordinary is right.
Okay, all right, okay.
Not to mention, our insurance covered some of the, not the in-house attorneys, but our insurance covered my representation. So,
That's on top of this.
yeah, it's on top of that. I never really got a full number on what the charge was for that, but I don't know what it is, but,
Okay. Well, hopefully we will
yeah.
be able to avoid some of those excess litigated matters.
so don't go suing any other board members this year. It gets expensive, okay?
Thank you.
And with that, this concludes the first workshop, correct? Any other questions? And I'll see you at 7 p.m. for the town board meeting. Hopefully my voice will be back by then.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Diana.
Thank you, Diana.
Yes, well done.